Hello, everyone. I want to make a short sermon video if I can. I'm going to be reading one verse in 1 Corinthians 12:31. I think it's the only verse I'm going to read. I might read a few more, but start off with that in the King James Version of the Bible, which says, "But covet earnestly the best gifts, and yet I show unto you a more excellent way." That's what I want to be talking to you about, is the more excellent way. Uh, my sermon today, the text is uh, ordinary versus extraordinary or extraordinary. I've been doing the verses series right now, and I want to do this one. Let me read this other, and then we'll go on. It's Romans 12:1 and 2. In the King James Version of the Bible, "I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. And be not conformed to this world, but be you transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God." A more excellent way, extraordinary, ordinary. The more excellent way. I've really laid this to you before, told you about this, but my brother was in the hospital, and me and his wife were sitting there. I think there had been other people there in the waiting room, but at that point it was just me and her is all I remember. And she was telling me she was assistant superintendent of Gwinnett County Schools in Georgia at that time, and she said that if you wanted to excel in their school system, they would help you. They would get you a tutor. They would whatever. If you was on a football team, and they had great football teams in athletics, was my understanding. She said that there would be somebody meet you in the weight room at 6:30 in the morning, or whatever time you wanted to meet, because they wanted you to excel. God wants us to excel. There's more for us. He don't want us to settle for mediocre. And she said if you wanted to do better in academics, they would get you a tutor, and they would meet you down there at the 6:30 or whatever. So if you want to do better and you tell God about it, He'll send you that more excellent way. He said, "Be not conformed to this world, but be you transformed by the renewing of your mind." You have to. You can't go on with the mind you got. You got to get a new mind. Uh, you can't. You can change your calendar. You can change this and that and other. Your hairstyle or whatever. If you got hair, I don't hardly have much, but you got to change your mind. Is what you got to change. You see a caterpillar crawling on the ground, a little worm. There's nothing about that caterpillar that will let you know that it's going to be a beautiful butterfly. It's transformed into that. I heard a story about, they take their little cocoons and they'll attach it on the underside of something. And it's a process that they're developing. And a man, he saw that. He saw that little butterfly on the inside of the cocoon, and it was struggling to get out, and he thought he'd help it. So he cut a little space there so it could get on out. Well, that was the wrong thing to do, because the fluids hadn't settled in, and it came out. It was warped around. It wasn't right. It needed that time of development. Transformed from ordinary to extraordinary. You can be transformed from ordinary to extraordinary. You have to work on it, but it can be done. Life is short. We're only allotted so much time in this thing to make our mark. So that's all the more reason to me for us to get focused. I hate I'm putting this book down, taking it back up, but anyway, we're only got a certain amount of time. It's like we used to have a fill in the blank, and it's like you taking this test, and the teacher's going to ring a bell when the time is up, and you have to turn your paper in. Whatever ones you haven't answered, you haven't answered. Life is full of these questions that needs answers. They're fill in the blank, and he's going to ring the bell. And I want to fill in all these blanks before the bell rings for me to go. So time is just tick, 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 tick. It's precious. We got to use it. So we got to stay focused. Got to stop producing things that don't make your soul sing. You got to stop dealing with things that make no impact or no difference. Determine what really matters to you and at this stage of life, and just get about it. Get to doing it. I don't think I told you this yet, but I remember old Superman. He was Clark Kent. He was had those horn rim glasses. He worked in an office with Lois Lane, and I forget what the rest of his name was, but he was just a nerd, and they didn't pay no attention to him. And that emergency would arrive, and old Clark would scoot on out of there. Where's Clark after a while? Well, he had went to the phone booth, and he would take, he had his Superman suit on up underneath his, what he wore to work, and he'd just take the outside off, and there he was Superman, transformed. We look like ordinary people. I look like just an ordinary person. Maybe somebody can do wrong, but underneath this, God is there for me. Nobody's interested in following ordinary. Who wants to follow ordinary? Who's going to listen to ordinary? Ordinary people just become invisible people. Jesus kind of calls them the salt of the earth. And he talks about the salt lost its savor. Ordinary, good is the enemy of great. So many people settle for good, and they don't try to go on to great. There's another level. Every level has a new devil, that's for sure. But there's another level up there. You just hadn't seen it yet. I know I've told you the story about my grandson, Grant Gaines. He was about 4 years old, so I think 5. And he'd stay with me, and he was a rocket socket action type guy, and he'd wear me out. And I just wanted to sit down and ask him. I said, is there anything we can do we can just sit down? I didn't sit with him. He wanted action, and no. And I said, can we play school? I didn't know what we were going to do. I just thought if I could sit down and I'd make it up as we went, and it would be good. But I said, did you bring anything in that bag that your mother packed that we could just sit down? He said, Nintendo. I didn't know much about it, but I said, drag it out here. And 5 years old or whatever he was, he hooked that thing up to the TV, and he said, oh, I'm going to put it on 2 players. I said, fine. He said, I got 2 controllers. You go first. He said, just make him go this way. 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 Just make him jump. And I said, okay, I didn't have it. It was Mario Brothers. I took this man down the road, and these monsters come and ate me. I was out of the game, but I was okay with it. And I just went over there and sat down. And he said, my turn. And I thought, man, this is what I've been waiting on. And he took that man. He went down that road. No monsters got him. The next thing I knew, he was on a motorboat. And then the next thing I knew, he was in an airplane. I never saw those screens. Brothers and sisters, friends out there are screens that we're not seeing. There's more screens than what we have seen so far. But the ordinary is not going to see those screens. There's good, better, and best. If you're too casual, you might become a casualty. Just okay is not okay. You saw the commercial about the surgeon, and they said the surgeon was okay, and he said, okay? The patient says, is he just okay? If you're a pilot and you're good at takeoffs, but you're not too good at landings, That's not okay. We want people that's excellent. That's what I want. That's what you want. That's what we deserve. But you could be so casualty that you'll become a casualty. We go to the doctor. Some of us do. Some do. And when we do, he'll give us a prescription that's going to make us better. And my theory is if we're going to go to him, we need to do what he says as much as we can. So you need to do what the Bible says. It's the prescription. He's got the prescription. It's like a recipe. My wife, she makes the best cornbread. I'm telling you, I hate to brag too much on her, but she's good. Best cook I've ever seen. And when she dies, a lot of people like her chocolate cake and other things she makes, but I don't know what she puts in the thing. And when she dies, that's going to die with it. But when she mixes that up, if she does it the same every time, it's the same results. There's a recipe for this. You have to have extra effort. Too many people is settling. All the settlers that there are out there. They have a lawsuit. They're going to sue for $1 million. And the other side says, well, would you consider $500,000? And no, I'll take $750,000 or whatever. They keep going back and forth. And finally, the man that wanted $1 million, he may settle for $550,000 or something like that. So you got to. We've done a lot of that settling. There's things out there for us, and the great things of God, they don't go on sale in the bargain basement. They cost the full price every time. As a matter of fact, you have to have extra effort to get to them. Not just extra. You got to be extraordinary, and you got to have extra effort. The cemetery, I've told you before, is the richest place that I know of. It's richer than Fort Knox. It's richer than the gold mines. Because in the cemetery, there's people that had talents that we'll never see. Songs that was beautiful that we never heard sung. Sermons that they could preach and we never heard them. And they just sold themselves short. They just settled. So I'm trying to get you not to settle. This is our birthright. Don't be like Esau and sell your birthright. This belongs to us. It's our inheritance to get to pass on to our children and their children. So I want to be extraordinary. I want you to be extraordinary, and I don't want us to settle for less. Because if we do, by the time it gets down to our children and their children, they're not even gonna recognize it as we had it and as we saw it. So may God bless you is my prayer. My phone number is 256-508-4410, and you can call or text me. I might not get back to you right away, but the reason I'm giving this number out to you is because I care about you. Who are you talking to, brother? I'm talking about whoever's listening to this. I care about you, and I want to help you as much as I can. And so may God bless you until we do this again.